and Mackenzie, but it's such a beautiful thing that we can all be here. It's like sharing a meal together. So tonight we're making an Appalachian style ratatouille. Ratatouille is kind of like a peasant's dish, sort of like we saw in the movie Ratatouille, where Ego eats it and he's just blown away by the flavor profile that they put in it, and that's what we're aiming to do today. But instead of kind of a French flair, we're throwing in a little bit of an autumn Appalachian style. And to do that, what we're starting with is these vegetables. Squash, our summer squash, which are all nice and rinsed already. And then what we're going to go through is add in a tomato sauce, a homemade tomato sauce. That's going to be thickened up with some carrots and some butternut squash, add a little bit of sweetness, and it's going to be delicious, and I'm excited to share it with you.
Awesome. I know we're still waiting for Dylan, but I think we can go ahead and get started. I'm just setting up, making sure we're recording on Zoom, and then also making sure that we're streaming on Facebook. So people can join us that way as well. But we can go ahead and get started. I'm excited.
Awesome. So first things first, if we want to just get started with boiling some water, that would be step number one. Don't want to fill it too much. Archimedes' rule of water displacement. We don't want to put our tomatoes in there and overfill it. But we want to boil some water, and then we want to get another pot like so that's full of cold water or room temperature water. A little bit colder would be just perfect. And while we're at it, hit the oven preheat to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. And then you kind of once you're a little situated, we can get a skillet and start warming it up with some oil. What's up, Rolando?
Hello, I'm a little behind, but I'm getting my cutting board and preparing my vegetables. If I can find
Excellent. Yeah, is your butternut squash just a whole butternut squash? What are you working with?
It's half. It's all
nice.
Prepared for me.
Dude, that's money.
Yeah, this box of ingredients is just convenient as can be. Everything. I even have a little Tupperware. These things are top of the line.
Whoa!
It comes with everything you need.
The tops that clip to the bottom they're travel ready.
Shout out Park City Eats.
Yeah.
Once you kind of have these things ready, if you want to prep your carrots, now would be just a good time to do so. If you feel like, shaving off that outer skin, a lot of people say that it tastes like soap. So I'm in that field, so I like to shave them, skin them. There's more than one way to skin a carrot, but that's what I always say.
I don't mind eating the outside. I always just eat the outside.
Yeah, it makes a really, tasty little snackaroo, I suppose.
Sure.
But it doesn't, if you like the skin, keep it on.
And are we just making little coins like this?
So for the carrots, we're gonna just kind of crudely chop them.
Okay.
It doesn't really matter what they look like. For the most part, we're gonna chop them up and then blend them.
Okay. Okay.
But you do want them to have, you know, a lot of exposed surface area. So
And
Good.
what's the plan with the butternut squash? Is that being cooked whole? Are we gonna dice that?
yeah, so the butternut squash, all right. So let's start with the butternut squash.
Okay.
This is kind of a beast to handle. So you're gonna cut off the little knob on the top, and if you don't like the butt on the bottom, go ahead and slice that off too. And then, you know, the way that I cut a butternut squash is the bulbous end first. You got all these little rainbows. And then in the rainbows, kind of chop them into just crude little funky pieces. And I like crudely chopped. I have this theory that if every bite looks different, then it'll taste different. Your visual cues will tell you that it is different.
I'm familiar with your theory of that.
What?
I said I'm familiar with your affinity to the randomness.
Yes, it's chaos theory confined to the kitchen.
Kitchen chaos theory.
Yes.
This is an interesting recipe to have that theory on. I feel like every time I see Ratatouille, it's like perfect.
Yeah, but that's kind of the fun part. Is if it doesn't look good, you get to blame the theory.
I like it. It'll still taste really good.
It'll taste good for sure.
I'm pretty sure we're cooking with every single color of the rainbow tonight. Literally red, orange, yellow, yeah. Except for blue, but blue is tricky.
It's true, we don't have blue. What a disappointment.
And
So has anybody here ever made a ratatouille before?
nope.
I didn't even know what ratatouille was until this class, so I'm excited.
Oh, it's beautifully arranged vegetables in a tomato-based sauce.
So now I'm dicing these into cubes.
Yeah, yeah. You're gonna just chop those up into, you know, fairly small pieces, but we can leave it at chunks. You know.
Got it.
How's Mackenzie doing? Is he in this?
He hasn't said anything yet.
He's
Mackenzie, you can use the chat as well if you would rather not speak. You can use the chat.
I have to admit, I also have never seen the movie Ratatouille.
Oh, wow.
Oh man. Well, that's kind of a game changer then. As far as Ratatouille game goes.
It's a
That's
good
kind of
movie.
the inspiration behind this whole thing. Kind of.
Oh.
How's the cubing going, team?
I think good. Mine are like an inch. Is it small enough?
Oh, it's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Money.
I'm a little slow at it, but it's going.
They just keep it up, you know. You know what they say about hard work.
What?
That hard work pays off.
Oh, great. Yeah, I did know that one.
Yeah, in fact, Nelly even went above and beyond and said, if hard work pays off, then easy work is worthless. And that's why we're taking hard vegetables on.
That's right. Speaking my language now.
Yeah, nothing like old Nelly.
The 90s R&B.
And as you're chopping that, you can also start cutting up the carrot. You know, I like to slice one down the middle, like a half a cylinder, sort of, half moon.
Before we get to the carrots, this might be a dumb question, but we're not worried about the skin on the butternut.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Oh, did I? I've been.
That's pretty funny. Well,
I'll meticulously go through and shave it off now. I was just this is a poor man's dish. We're just not worrying about the skin, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, like, don't be overly concerned about it, but if you can get rid of it, get rid of it.
Okay. I think I'll survive. I kind of cut a lot of it off when I cubed it, but there's some pieces that remain skin.
I don't think it's bad for you. It just might end up tasting a little bit bitter if you have some skin.
Yeah,
I'm getting off.
but it'll be soft, so you know, at the same time, it won't be like a.
Right. It's not going to be like.
Yeah.
Well, continue.
Solving problems. You don't have to use it.
Thought I'd make a cameo with that.
Yeah, we'll just walk through the background.
Can I bite?
The carrot. Yeah, Roland, I don't know if you were paying attention right there all of a sudden to the screen, but there was a cameo appearance for you.
I missed the cameo, dude.
Hold tight. I'll be right back.
Oh, I hear the cameo. I'm very excited for the cameo. How much you paying this guy to be a cameo appearance in this thing?
Did you see
man. That was a good walk by. A good strut.
Yeah, he was practicing.
One could say that was even runway-esque.
Almost like he practiced it.
Okay, this is great. The box that this came in, I'm just tossing all the ends and parts that I don't need right into the box. It's great.
Just right into the box, huh?
All in one, dude.
That's a pretty good deal, man. 15 bones.
Yeah, for 15 bones. Yeah, I know.
This will easily feed 4 people.
Yeah. I mean, this is a crazy amount of food. Like, when I got home, I had to run some errands. I got home and the box was sitting on my doorstep. And I picked it up and I was surprised immediately how heavy it was. Like, I mean, this is going to be a lot of food.
Yeah, and it's all fresh produce. That makes it kind of nice too.
Yeah, it's great. I have to do these more often.
For sure. A show. How we looking?
Looking good. Sid just got here. She's gonna join in on the fun as well.
Excellent, excellent. What a treat.
Well, we got Charlie Dog barking. She's making a guest appearance. Voice, audio only. Okay, so you said we're just crudely chopping the carrots, right? Come in.
Yeah.
Let me
Pretty
see.
crudely because we're gonna blend it up for the most part, but we want some chunks in it
Got it.
also. I personally like a chunkier sauce, so that's my move.
Maddie,
Is
the
it?
water is boiling.
Awesome. Mine just alerted me that it is boiling too. So if you want to take a second and take your tomatoes and just drop them in kind of lightly so they don't splash too much. And we're going to leave them in there for about 60 seconds. So you can resume to your chopping block.
So water's boiling. What was the last part? I've got my
Yeah.
bowl.
All right, so water boiling, throw in your tomatoes
Okay.
into the water.
Just whole.
Whole.
Whole. Okay.
Yeah. All of them.
Plop. Oh, I have 3 of them. So
Yeah.
here we go.
Good. Now, these things that you've been chopping, your butternut squash and your carrot, yeah, you can go ahead and throw that in a skillet and start kind of,
Ooh, that's a nice sound.
yeah, and start cooking those a little bit.
Okay. I gotta find my skillet here.
Maddie, was this inspired by a trip that you took recently? This recipe?
Say again?
Was this recipe inspired by a trip that you took recently?
Ooh.
Did you just go backpacking recently?
Did I just go backpacking?
Yeah.
In the mountains?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was up, well, not really backpacking. I was just out there living in a cabin doing a music artist retreat thing.
Cool.
Yeah, it was really fun. Really fun. I learned about a new squash called a patty pan.
Never heard of that.
Yeah, me neither, but it was kind of what I thought of as an Appalachian dish. Can't find it here in the Piedmont area of North Carolina, but it's there. So once you have your tomatoes kind of boiling, you'll see the skin start to crack a little bit, and when it cracks, take it out of the hot water and throw it in the cold water. And you can let those puppies sit in cold water for just a little bit and let them cool down.
This is the tomatoes we're pulling out of hot water and putting in cold water?
Yes, the tomatoes.
Okay.
Oh, I see what you mean by cracking a little bit. You might not be able to see it on the camera, but mine did it. The skin cracked a bit.
Yeah, yeah, we want the little cracks in it for sure.
Perfect. Cool.
Cool. You can let those sit in the cold water for a few more minutes while we chop up the garlic and the onion and the bell pepper. And again, we're crudely chopping all of this.
Awesome. The garlic that I gave to you is already minced, which is nice. That I gave to Roma.
That is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got minced garlic ready to go. That's the best part. And this oregano?
Yeah, that's the Italian seasoning.
Okay.
Oregano and basil.
Great. Yeah. This is so great. I mean, I'm surprised there's not like 50 people on this thing right now.
Tell your friends. There might be people watching.
Tell your friends, we need 50 people.
So, where does Eats get most of its funding? I looked on the website, and I know it's associated with the school district, and I think Maddie told me a little bit about it, but.
Yeah, we're a nonprofit, so a lot of our funding comes from direct donations from the Park City area and beyond, really, like the whole Wasatch Front and back. And then we rely a lot on grants as well. And yeah, that's like the most of it. And then a little bit from events that we host, but mostly just from those two sources, really. Just people being involved in, wanting to be involved in good food. So we do work with the school district to teach some classes. We teach normally during the after school program, making food with kids, which is super fun. And then we did a bunch of summer camps this summer where kids got to learn a lot about how to grow food and then how to harvest it and cook it. So
It's awesome.
yeah.
How long has Eats been around?
I think about 7 years, since 2013.
Okay.
Yeah. So not super, super long. We kind of started as like an advocacy, more of an advocacy group to change the school lunches up in Park City. But a lot of changes have been made since then. So we're kind of turning more to like food justice. So making sure that everyone has equal access to food. We have a backpacks program that we run where we send home backpack meals for kids who are on free and reduced lunch. So they get to take like a bag of food home on the weekends. So they have some yummy foods to eat when they're not at school.
Nice.
And then we do a lot of cooking classes like this. Normally they would be live. And we do a lot of garden classes as well. So there's a greenhouse at Parley's Elementary up in Park City, and we caretake that. So we grow food in there, and we do classes for the kids at Parley's so they can learn how to grow food, and then they can benefit from it, eat it.
Maddie, so did I see you chopping up the bell pepper?
Yeah, chop up the bell pepper, chop up the onion, and throw your garlic right in there with the sauteing butternut squash.
And do I need to dice this, or
Again?
am I dicing the bell pepper, or just leave
Yeah,
it?
it's not really dicing it, chunks.
Okay, chunking it.
Chunking it.
Okay, got it.
with the onion.
Okay.
Just chunk it up, boy.
Sounds good, boy. Hey, don't eating the ingredients here.
And toss it on in.
We're putting the onions in there too?
Yep, throw the onions in there, throw the garlic, the bell pepper. And as it's sauteing, you can throw in your Italian spice medley.
Awesome. This onion is making my eyes water.
The other day, I made the mistake of putting a full onion in the food processor and then blending it. Like, the people upstairs came down and were like, yo, my eyes are watering from my room. I guess it just sent little onion particles
Yeah, it can really get to you.
just everywhere. My sister recently got some onion goggles. They're the goofiest looking things, but you know, she wears them when she puts on.
I've worn ski goggles before for it.
They're so nerdy, but they work. All right. And you want to make sure that you're stirring this every so often. We don't want anything sticking to the bottom. You know, if you need to add more oil, go ahead. Excellent.
Smells really good at my house right now with the seasoning in there.
As soon as the seasoning goes in, it just erupts with a beautiful smell.
And the garlic.
I'll have you know that my entire family has eaten ratatouille 3 times this last week because I've been practicing this. They're excited because it's good, but they're also like, wow, ratatouille again.
I'm super excited because I always thought that ratatouille had cheese in it, so I never made it because I'm super lactose intolerant, but there's no cheese in this, and I'm really happy about it.
Yeah, I always thought it had cheese in it too, and I suppose it would be super easy to add cheese.
Yeah. It would go with the flavor palette and everything. Yeah. I'm happy. I'm happy this way.
This is also a stupid question, but in the movie Ratatouille, do they make Ratatouille, or it's just because the mouse is named Ratatouille?
No, the mouse's name is Remy.
Oh, well, why is the movie called Ratatouille then?
Because they make ratatouille.
Oh, so they do make Ratatouille. Okay.
Yeah, so at the very end of it, the food critic comes to Cousteau's restaurant, which is where Remy works, which is a funny thought in itself. But he says, make me something give me some perspective. And so Remy makes him this thing that he's always thought of as a peasant dish, ratatouille, and the food critic is blown away. And he thinks it's delicious, and it takes him back to his childhood, and it's
Sounds like a great movie. I need to watch this thing.
it is really good. It is really good, without a doubt. And the background music is phenomenal.
All right. So I still have my.
Yeah, good. That's a good point. Well, right before we do that, we're gonna grab our food processor if you have one.
Yeah.
Cool. And we're gonna transfer our tomatoes into the food processor. But before we transfer them, and I'll do this right here, we're gonna peel the skin off. And also, if you, I find that if you put the top, after this has been sauteing for a minute and everything's a little brown, you can put the top on it and turn the heat off, and it'll kind of melt down into a nice soft texture. It's good. But you're gonna grab your tomatoes. And these ones that have already had cracks in them, those are the perfect ones to start with. Just peel back the skin like you had a really gnarly sunburn. Just kidding, that's gross. Just peel it off, disrobe it. You don't have to put the lotion on the skin because it'll get the blender again. But similarly, you don't need to cut the belly button of the tomato. You don't need to cut that out. It'll kind of just blend up, and you'll lose it. So it's not so bad. I spent a little bit of time in Italy, and my Italian grandmother, when she did this, she usually cut these in half and with a spoon would dig the seeds out. I forgot to do that the very first time that I started cooking, and I haven't noticed that it tastes different, so I don't do it. But I will let you know that when I learned, people took the seeds out. Nonna Franca.
My roommate just got home, and I think Wednesdays are my roommate's favorite night because I always make yummy food. And they-
What a win.
Hi.
Excellent. And at this point, you can throw in a little bit of wine, or I said the wine was optional, but instead you could put some vegetable broth. You can add a little bit of wine. Either one works.
Wine in the box. I'm sorry.
No, I figured. But it just leaches out some of the flavors that otherwise kind of remain a little trapped in the vegetables. But it is optional. It's not super important.
Would you use white wine or red wine?
A white wine. Yeah.
I'm adding extra wine in my ratatouille. Just to make sure all those flavors get pulled out, you know?
Yeah, you can throw a little red wine in there. Word on the street is it's pretty classy to do that, but I don't know.
Then I don't want that. I'm sticking with white.
Hey, good on you, man. I'm proud.
Man.
Is it nice and chilled?
Yeah, it is.
Good. Yeah, so, you know, keep that up. You do want it to all boil off. So, you know, there's that. But once you got your tomatoes in your little grinder, just pulse it. Pulse it like it was a 1970s like Cuban Havana club. Yeah. So, sorry, I got a little carried away back in my DJ days.
That was great.
So.
All right.
Blender up.
Blended.
Cool. And then if you did put wine in your deal, you're gonna want to wait for the wine to boil off. Same with the vegetable oil. Same with anything you throw in there, pickle juice, whatever. And then once it does, add in your tomatoes.
I haven't put my wine in yet, but I'm putting in a nice Sauvignon Blanc.
Yeah.
2019 from New Zealand. It's a great year. So.
Oh, that's a great year. Wow. Is that from the Marlborough region?
It is. It is.
Wow. Yeah, they have a really good Sauvignon Blanc.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it's very good.
I put vegetable broth in mine, so we'll see how it turns out.
It'll be good for sure.
Yeah, it should add some nice flavor, a little bit of salt too. Good.
Yeah, feel free. I'm one of those people that don't put a lot of salt in because it's so easy to add later. So, if you feel like adding salt at any point, I've been told that most of my meals don't have enough salt. So, there's that. But while that's kind of cooking away, we can get to the coins. Beautiful. And so as you're cooking this through, you want to be on a medium heat, like maybe level 4. You know, something like right in there. And you know, like the tomatoes have a ton of water, so it'll just boil. And then we get to the fun part, which is, funny enough, like not all that much fun. It's like the hardest part, and that's the coins. So the way that I think about it is like the thinner you have it, the more wilty they're gonna be once you're eating it, which is great. But then you might want to add a crunch later with like some crunchy bread. If you make them a little bit thicker, then they have a little bit. They retain their rigidity a little bit and kind of makes your bites. They like feel more substantive in your mouth. So it's really up to you. Some of them could be thick, some could be thin. You know, it's fun. Just play the game. But I would recommend, you know, like if you put maybe 3 or 4 quarters stacked up on top of each other, about that tall.
We're also doing this with the zucchini?
Yep, we're gonna do it with the zucchini, with the eggplant, and the squash.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Do you know if the squash or the zucchini or the eggplant cooks faster? Like, does any one of them cook faster than the other one?
You know, I've cooked this a few times, and it seems like if the eggplant is thicker, it doesn't cook as fast.
Okay, that's good to know. So maybe a
Yeah.
little thinner on the eggplant.
Thinner on the eggplant.
Cool.
But everything, the other two seem to cook at pretty much the same
Perfect.
speed. You know, you could probably put this in a Dutch oven and make it over a campfire, and it wouldn't be that hard with the exception of the slicing.
Yeah, if you pre-chopped everything, you could probably do it.
Yeah, if you pre-chopped it, this would be pretty awesome.
That's the way to do it.
Really good. And if you just made the sauce beforehand and brought it.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Tomatoes up.
And you could just as easily get any marinara sauce or like
Right.
diced tomato cans, and it would just be.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Try that.
My sauce.
Originally, my sister was gonna come help us do this, but I guess she changed her mind.
It's all right. Dylan never joined us either. He comes to a lot of our classes though, so he might have just decided, not gonna do it tonight.
Maybe he's following along on Facebook though, and just, you know.
Yeah, that could definitely be. That could be, for sure.
I gotta follow you guys on Facebook.
Yeah, I think there's a few people watching on Facebook right now. Should I skin the eggplant?
Nope.
Didn't want a butternut squash situation.
I apologize about that, Mr. Rowland.
No, I think I was moving my my computer in from my office, so I think I missed that part. But it was backed up with, and in my mind, the logic was backed up with you saying that it was a peasant's dish. I was like, oh, you know, you don't have to do very.
Peasants eat anything, right?
They like a little bitter taste to their dishes, so.
Yeah, 13th century French peasants will eat pretty much anything, right?
I mean, stands to reason.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I hear, at least from.
They probably save the wine for drinking, though, I would imagine.
Yeah, all those peasants just saved up on wine. And then they quickly became the bourgeoisie. I've been listening to a lot of history podcasts lately.
Ooh.
So you're like tickling my inner nerd when you say something about French peasants.
I have a question. I do not have cast iron. Is there something you recommend I use?
Yes, pretty much just something you can put in the oven. So with a metal handle.
Great.
You could use a pot just as easy.
Yeah, I have this. It's like a cake pan. Is that too thin?
I think that would work just fine.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna try to make it in here. Maybe
Yeah.
not in this little pan.
I can't imagine that not working.
You gotta get a cast iron.
I know. I have kind of a minimalist setup, so cast iron is unfortunately didn't make the cut.
Not yet.
Cut. Oh, I see what you did there. We're in a cooking class.
Yes.
I'm following you.
If I can make jokes about you forgetting to cut the skin off of butternut squash, then I should be able to take whatever jokes you throw at me as well.
Listen, I'm gonna make more mistakes by the end of this, so get your notepad ready.
Yep, butternut squash boy.
Oh God, I don't like that nickname. I don't like where this is headed.
We're We're going down a dark tunnel.
Are we ready to place the coins? I really want to learn how to do that.
So the way that I have been doing it, and the way that I've found works really well, is first of all, we want most of the liquid in our solution over there to be kind of drained away, or not drained away, evaporated away. So like we can just like get to stacking these beforehand. And so we could build little towers like you would rocks at a, little riverbed. Zucchini, squash, zucchini, eggplant. Zucchini, squash, zucchini, eggplant. And you can just build up a couple of little towers on your cutting board. Zucchini, squash, zucchini, eggplant. Zucchini, squash, zucchini, eggplant. Zucchini, squash, zucchini, eggplant. Zucchini, squash, zucchini, eggplant. And I'm sure you'll quickly find out that all of these coins are different sizes. In the end, it works out. Like the big ones fit in the crevasses that the little ones make in the outer layer, and so it ends up being kind of nice.
So what do we do with these coins now? We put them in our dish.
No, we're gonna. Can you see my thing here?
Yeah.
I'm like building little stacks.
Yeah.
Because I still want most of the water to drain off. Or evaporate off, sorry.
Okay.
And so while that happens, we can start stacking these.
Okay.
Zucchini, squash, zucchini, eggplant, zucchini, squash.
My roommate just laughed at me because mine tipped over on the counter. Sorry.
If I had $1 for every time my zucchini tower fell.
I would have $1.
I wouldn't quite have $1 yet, but I would see one in my future.
So Natalie, where do you guys get the vegetables from? You just pick them up at the store, or?
We try to partner with local farmers as much as possible. With seasonal recipes like this, I was able to get a lot of it at the farmers markets. And then whatever else, we just pick it up at the store. Yeah, so we try to keep things seasonal so that we can support local when we can. We also grow a little bit of food at Summit Community Gardens. We have a couple of plots, so I've been able to get some squash from there. Nothing tonight, unfortunately, but we have had some recipes made with squash that we've grown at Summit Community Gardens.
And are you gonna want this back? I imagine you guys are spending a pretty penny on Tupperware. Just give them out left and right.
Just sign up for future classes,
I will. You've got a customer for a long time in me. This is great, especially
yeah. What a cool date night too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of date night, where's Sid?
She ran to Harmon's to pick up some groceries for this week and
cool
food prepping for the week.
And so if you guys are anything like me, once you get to the end, you're gonna stop with your pattern?
Yes. I've already deviated from the plan.
Yeah, I'm out of the pattern too. I'm out of the game. It's too hot out here. Yeah. All right. So, how's your sauce looking? Is it kind of drying up?
Mine still has quite a lot of liquid in it, but I could take the cover off for a while, maybe.
Yeah, yeah. And we'll let that kind of simmer down.
It smells awesome, and it's really colorful. It's super pretty.
Yeah, cool. Glad.
Yeah, as soon as I took the lid off, pretty much solved the problem. It's pretty, yeah, it's cooking down.
And with your extra coins, you can leave them off to the side, and leave quite a few, just for once we stack everything in it, we can kind of fill in extra space with these. You are gonna want your handy dandy
Food processor.
food processor available, because what we're gonna do is take this, we're gonna blend some of it again, so that we get a nice smooth texture. Before we put it in the dish that we're gonna bake it.
Right? Yeah, I think mine's ready for that.
What's up?
I think mine's ready. It doesn't
Okay,
have to
awesome.
be anymore.
So we're gonna take about 3/4 of it, 2/3, and we're gonna throw it in our food processor. But definitely leave some good chunks at the bottom here.
It smells so good.
Nice. Good. So now instead of adding all of this back, what we're gonna do is add some of it back into the pot so that we have a nice even coating on the bottom. And I'll So I don't know if you can see this, but have all the chunks, and then I put the nice puree on top of it. Not all of it, but about half of it.
So the chunks from the pan go in first.
Yeah, so the chunks will go in first. Yep.
Perfect.
Rolando, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I'm a little behind you guys, but I'm getting there.
What's holding you up?
Just had to kind of clean up the food processor and get everything back to the tip-top shape. So I think I'm getting there. It's looking
Sweet.
good.
Excellent, excellent. So like I said, you're gonna have the chunks in the bottom, and then half of the stuff that you pureed, you're gonna put on top of it and make a nice plush bed, kind of like a gorilla would make a nest. It would already find soft dirt, but then it would put nice ferns and leaves on top of that. All right, not a good reference. That's fine.
Was that a test to see if we're paying attention?
Well, it was like channeling my inner Jane Goodall, maybe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But once you have this is kind of the fun part. You take your stacks and you just try your best to let them sit in your pot.
Oh, they're gonna go vertical.
Yeah, they're all going to be pretty vertical. And then once you have them all vertical, then you kind of smush them down a little bit.
Okay.
But since your stacks are all so nicely done, you know, it should be hopefully easy to make that little transfer. Bearing in mind that your pot is probably quite hot. And this the sauce will give you kind of a nice, like a pasty solution, so they should stand up pretty well, hopefully.
Even if I never make ratatouille again, I'm gonna make this sauce again. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's really good with any sort of ravioli too.
Whoa, yeah, or even just pasta, honestly.
Yeah, honestly, you're right. It is. This is good sauce. And then you want to make it like a kind of a concentric circle, like a target, if you can. The inner layer is insanely difficult to do, but if you can get it, more power to you. And then, like I said, you know, in the little crevasses, just shove these other extra coins in it.
I cheated a little bit and I cut my eggplant into this shape, so it'll lay a little better in the pan because it was so big.
Yeah, my eggplants are so thick, they're so noticeable. It's just like, I feel like they're gonna catch some wind and sail away. But you know, like I think at the end of the day, it's, you know, if every bite looks different, then it tastes different. And if every bite tastes different, it'll keep you on your toes waiting for the next bite. That's what I always say.
Hello.
Great. And so this is looking awesome. And I hope yours is looking equally as awesome. Beautiful.
I think making the stacks ahead of time was genius. So I can just lay them in.
Yeah, I learned that the second time I made it. First time I didn't do it so well. Also, the first time I tried to use sweet potatoes, which was cool, which was really, really awesome for the puree, but I didn't bake it enough, I don't think, and so they were a little bit on the rawer side. But as far as the puree goes, I would recommend using a sweet potato in place of a butternut squash, if you so choose.
I like squash.
Me too, especially this time of year. Gets me all excited for, you know, like pumpkin, other things, and hot chocolate will be pretty good in a little while. Gets me psyched up for the
Ski season.
yeah. And then once you kind of have that, there's another separate little sauce type of deal that we're gonna make. And if you have basil leaves and fresh parsley and a little bit of garlic and olive oil, we can do it. And so basically you're just gonna crudely chop your basil. Does not have to look nice, doesn't have to be uniform or anything, just kind of little chopped, throw it in a bowl.
I bought this basil at Trader Joe's the other day, and I don't know if you can tell, but the leaves are like really, really, really big.
That's massive.
Yeah.
It all
Like,
smells good.
It's almost as big as my hand.
Trader Joe's has the best basil plants.
Did you get the plant or did you get it already?
I just bought a box of it.
I just went and got the plant, and for the last couple of days I've been trying so hard to keep it alive, and well, it made it this far, but it won't make it much farther.
I have a plant growing at my house right now. This is a leaf from my plant. This is the leaf that I got at Trader Joe's.
Trader Joe's is on something. So you're gonna chop up your basil. You're gonna chop up, if you have any extra garlic, mince that up and throw that in there as well. You know, if, about 2 cloves. And this little like saucy addition that we're making makes a really excellent garnish if you're making a baked ziti or something. You know, like a little dollop of this in the middle will go quite a long way. So just, there's that.
Are we gonna food process this as well, or are we just chopping
No,
it?
we're gonna just mix it.
Perfect.
And then, you know, a handful of parsley. You don't necessarily have to use the stems. I just kind of pick off the leafy parts and use those. Probably like everybody, but
I don't mind the stems actually. I'm weirdly super against like wasting any food. So I eat the stems of everything. I make salsa and I use the stems of the cilantro. Strange, but.
well, you know, if you ever make a bolognese sauce, which is pretty much this sauce too, throw broccoli stems into those, and it is so good. And then you obviously have good broccoli on the side later.
That sounds tasty.
Yeah.
That's a super good use for those.
Yeah, or like the white parts of the celery that most people tend to not eat. Kind of chop up this parsley just so that it doesn't, you know, big chunks of it. Okay. So in there we have basil leaves, parsley, garlic. We'll throw in a little bit of oil. You can go pretty heavy on the oil, maybe 2 tablespoons, maybe 3, kind of, it's up to you. It truly, in my experience, does not matter how much you put in, because it'll just seep through and add flavor into everything, everything underneath it. I'm also using a Trader Giotto's olive oil, which I would recommend to pretty much anybody. All right, so we have this this beautiful dish almost ready to go, but what we need to do is 2 separate things. One is take the remaining part of our sauce and kind of drizzle it over the top. So that we have a nice kind of coating of this butternut squash kind of bolognese sort of sauce.
That was good, Ray.
It's way good.
You can do this.
Yeah, ratatouille is a little bit labor intensive, but it is. It's not hard. It just like is things to do.
So did you put your greens or your sauce first on top?
I put the sauce first, and then I top it with the greens.
Perfect. Whoa, this is beautiful.
And, you know, it kind of goes without saying that this is naturally gluten-free and naturally vegan, which is pretty fun. But we can also, you know, add gluten easily with some garlic bread and add some non-vegan parts by just throwing some butter on the garlic bread. And then you take this this basil, parsley, garlic mix, and you just kind of drizzle it over the top. You know, try to hit the try to hit everything in, whatever, just throw it on. Yeah, you can come in.
This is what mine looks like. Whoa.
Oh, it's great.
It's
So
great.
beautiful.
Hey, Sid,
Hey, Maddie. What's up?
just hanging out.
I know you're
Good
good.
with you. What's
I
up?
was thinking with your basil plant, maybe if you watered it, it might help.
I did. It is like it is watering right now.
Okay, have you put it in the sun?
That's just like it's outside, you know, like it should be getting proper sunlight. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I'm doing something wrong.
Don't let her give you a hard time, Maddie.
Dude, it's hard. I'm already having a hard time.
Matt's trying to mute me.
And then once you have your sauce on here and your basil mixture, throw a couple of thyme sprigs if you have the time. Just kidding. You have to make one of those jokes at some point. And kind of garnish the top with them. It looks really fancy.
Do yours?
And how long are we putting this in the oven for?
So if you put it in the oven, in total about 45 minutes.
Okay.
But you want to have it covered for about 30 of them.
Oh, really?
And then uncover it and go for another 15, 20, something like that.
Right, okay. Let me just turn on my oven here.
Oh, you missed that part.
Yeah.
Dang, man, I'm sorry.
I told you I was gonna make more mistakes, man.
Hey, you know what they say about mistakes?
Say what?
You know what they say about mistakes?
I mean, I feel like I do know, but please enlighten me one more time.
No, man, enlighten us. What do they say about mistakes?
You're bound to make more.
Bingo. Just
Really?
don't make the same one twice, right?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, shit, I'm gonna make that too. I'll
Yeah,
probably make the same mistake twice. But my oven heats up pretty quick, so I think we should be fine.
Cool.
The last step then?
Yeah, so that's pretty much the last step. Throw a top on her.
Oh, that fits like a glove.
Yeah, I'm just loving right now. Where is the glove? Where is the glove?
I don't know. I don't have a top for mine. I feel like, can I just do tinfoil?
Yeah, absolutely.
Fine, my
So I've done it with tinfoil a couple of times, and if you don't lock in the moisture, it really does not cook as well. So,
Gotta,
you know,
really gotta
it's
see the
tinfoil, maybe like go all the way around it.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. Because you don't want squash that just isn't, that's just like a pickle sort of. It's like squeaky on your teeth.
Yeah.
You know? But then you just throw this boy in.
Do you have one prepared that's finished already, like in the cooking shows?
Oh yeah, let me just pull one out of the sink.
You have two ovens, like they do, and
And they just like instantly flash back to when they made a full one. No, I don't have it.
kind of serious. You don't have one ready?
No, but I can, email you some pictures or something.
Okay, that's fine. I can imagine the finished product in my head. It's just
It would have been cool. I mean, it would have been better.
There's room for improvement. This is like 95%. It's like an A, but there's always room for that A plus.
But also keep in mind, this isn't a cooking show. This is just cooking together as a community. So.
Well, Chef Maddie, we'd like to argue otherwise from the gray screen over here. Because we have been
Thought you guys were gone.
Oh, we've been taking notes over here. If our video worked, you would see that we have been very tuned into this cooking show.
Oh, that tickles my heart. Oh my goodness.
There's a choice between every movie out there or watching Maddie's cooking show and Maddie's cooking show.
This comes to kind of a fun part. Yeah, so you set your timer, Matt. I don't know if you were gonna do that or if that could be explicitly stated.
I feel like whatever you set your timer to, I'll just add another 10 minutes because the skin's still on my butternut squash. I mean, it's blended, but I'll probably need a few more minutes on mine. So
cool. Maybe the sweetness of the carrots will kind of cancel that out.
Yeah, maybe we'll find out.
I hope so.
If you had cloves of garlic, this is kind of a fun thing you could do. Is take the rest of your bulb and you could just throw it in there in the oven for like 30 minutes. And when you pull the pan out, you take the garlic out and you chop it up with some butter and you spread that on bread and it makes the best garlic bread. And you don't really have to do any extra work.
That's ingenious.
It is. Right, yeah, it's a good move. Like I've been in that situation where you just gotta throw garlic powder and some butter on it and just kind of work with that.
That sounds terrible.
It's like not good. It's fine. You eat it, but it's not good.
14th century peasants might find it okay, but
yeah, they go to their local Safeway and just get some garlic powder.
All right.
Yeah, and as far as ratatouille goes, like as the summer comes to more of its end, you can throw in like a delicata squash would be really good. You could throw in slices of tomato between it. You probably could do potato. You can do slices of apple. Like
apple.
Yeah,
Wow.
apple for sure.
Yeah, apple. Like I bet we could make a dessert one with apple cinnamon, and it would be probably freaking delicious.
What would the base be?
So good.
We could just make we could make a peach cobbler or something.
Hell yeah.
Or a nutmeg cobbler, Anyway, so yeah, about 30 minutes, take the top off, about 10, 15 more minutes after that, and this thing is good to go.
Awesome. I'm so excited to try it. And when you guys pull yours out of the oven, you should take pictures and share them. You can either email them to me or you can share them on Eats' Instagram, just at Eats Park City.
Sounds great.
Beautiful. Well, I had so much fun doing this with you guys. Sweet. This was such a treat for me. Really.
For me too. Thank you for hosting. And I'm excited that I know how to make ratatouille now.
What? Magnifique! I know. Something like that.
You crushed it, Maddie.
Thanks, Maddie. You're the best.
Cheers. Cheers, friends. Much love.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
Ciao. Buona